Fetus, that fetus.
It's not an okay thing to say.
I'm gonna have to yeetus you out the fucking McWindow. Maria still hasn't come back. I wonder if she's getting scolded by Aunt Rosa again.
Oof. Ever since they'd met Maria at the airport, she'd been romping around, chatting about Halloween the whole time. But maybe she'd cut loose a little too much. Acting a little too boisterous on the plane, on the boat, and during lunch, because Rosa had cautioned her several times. At times like that, Aunt Rosa had tended not to scold her in front of so much in front of people. More often, she would take Maria aside and scold her alone. So, since Maria had been called off somewhere, they figured she must be getting scolded. When they looked at the clock, they realized it was almost 6 o'clock. Of course, they couldn't imagine she'd been getting scolded all this time. Maybe it was time for some anime she watched every week to start. She probably hadn't left the mansion's parlor.
She's watching Doki Doki Literature. No, fuck, that's a game. I was gonna say Magical Girl, I forgot.
Maybe Battler-sama woke up and they've been playing together.
After all, Maria-chan thinks Battler-kun as a new friend. She must have had a lot of fun when she played Halloween with Battler-kun at the airport. Battler looked like he was having a lot of fun himself. Maybe he's gotten big, but he hasn't really changed a bit.
That's true. I get the feeling Battler-sama was gracious enough to remain as he was 6 years ago.
Shannon, do you remember what he was like then?
Yes. Because he was, well, very energetic.
I also remember the four of us playing together 6 years ago. Shannon acted a lot like a big sister back then. Now we fuck.
Yep.
That's right. I get the feeling she was even more dependable than she is now.
But back then, I didn't truly understand my place, so I did quite a few rude things.
Don't worry about understanding your place in that sense. When you're on the job is one thing, but when you're taking your breaks, and with us, like now, I'd rather you stay and be friendly, just like the old days. That's right. There's nothing wrong with acting different depending on whether you're the servant, Shannon, or off-duty Sayo. You aren't a slave. You're just working as a servant, right? I think of you, Shannon. No, Sayo, as my oldest friend.
It's a nice Jessica face.
Thank you very much, my lady.
It seemed that Shannon understood the hidden meaning behind Jessica's words. After all, she'd heard a bit about Jessica and Cannon's history from both of them. Apparently, George had heard something of that history too. He walked towards the window and looked up at the darkening rainy sky.
Cannon may still be childish in some ways, but I think he's starting to grow a bit in his way of thinking.
Well, come on. Quit it already. Well, I guess I let myself get swept away by the mood once or twice. You know, after watching you two, might have gotten a bit jealous, feeling like I was getting left behind. But forget about me. More importantly, how's it going between you two? Looks like it's going pretty good, huh?
I wonder.
Yes.
Fuck George.
I think we should shot ourselves in the foot, with this George voice. A lot of lines sound very, very just kind of like that. They accentuate the awkwardness that is George, which I think fits really well. We're gonna have to get it out of our system sometimes.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that banana-looking ass.
He just butted in like that.
Yeah, it's going fine.
It's going great.
It's going very
Thumbs
well.
up.
Oh,
Okay emoji.
God.
Shannon was lost for words, her face red, while George answered brightly and immediately.
Ah, that was perfectly.
That carefree attitude made it easy to see that the relationship was proceeding so perfectly it'd make anyone envious.
Dang, I'm jealous. So does that mean Shannon's gonna resign and have a party soon?
Party.
I wonder.
Oh, there's a good question. I wonder what she'll say.
George laughed teasingly
Ah.
as... Fuck you. As though pressing Shannon for an answer. It was probably the way they usually flirted when they were alone.
Sad.
Damn.
Jessica
God.
could only smile bitterly and say, yes, yes, thank you, that's enough.
It's like seeing two pieces of toast just like put together.
This is a really good screenshot, actually.
What the fuck is that?
He's quoting Martin Luther King.
He's quoting Martin Luther King.
Look at his face too. Holy shit, it's not helping.
That my children might not be judged by the color of their skin,
Shut the
but
fuck
by the
up.
content of their
Nick,
character.
stop!
Nick, I'm gonna fucking die. I might throw up. Oh my
Snap.
Oh God, I needed that.
Oh my god. I have a... Shit. I have a dream. I don't just mean some ambition to... Oh my god. To become the leader of my own domain and business. I also dream of building a happy family together with a partner I can spend my life with. I want 2 kids at the very least.
I hate this asshole.
It'd be nice to be able to do some sports with the whole family.
So fucking already, woman.
Assume the position, woman.
My stomach hurts. Oh.
We need to settle down.
Yeah.
He's not letting it happen. He's not letting us settle down. He's saying this shit.
He's like front and center too, looking
The
so
face
happy.
is like a big part of it.
He's staring into the camera, just reciting the plot of Full House.
Oh my Lord. Damn.
We might need to cut some
Man,
of
the
this.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, we're gonna need to cut some of this.
And many more things besides that.
I really want to keep it all.
Wait.
I often talk with Shannon about that kind of thing.
Didn't the mom die in Full House?
Yes.
Damn, watch out, Ava.
No, they meant like his wife.
Oh, okay.
So
Watch out, Shannon.
Yeah.
Damn. We haven't seen that happen before.
Ha
Yes.
Though every time I do, she always laughs and says, I'm getting ahead of myself. You're not even...
Not even what?
For some reason, even at the age I am now, I find myself thinking about what it'd be like to live peacefully in my old age.
That's kind of a mood, honestly.
Yeah.
With healthy grown-up kids and grandchildren running all over the place.
I could do without that one, maybe, though.
Oh, that's kind of wholesome. What
It
are you
is.
talking about?
It is wholesome. I could do with it, too.
Yeah. If only I could spend the rest of my life at a slow pace, surrounded by that, together with Shannon forever. What the fuck? How did he go from Full House to wholesome?
That's damn.
Full wholesome.
Yeah, you're definitely getting ahead of yourself.
Damn.
I love this Jessica face.
But how should I say it? Sounds like you, George Nissan.
Being surrounded by a family that would probably be so wonderful. The ideal family I've painted in my mind is something like that.
Damn, y'all should fuck. To Shannon, who'd been raised in an orphanage, that harmonious image of a family was probably something to be yearned for. And George, who had made it an absolute promise to grant that wish for her, may truly have been a fitting person for her to spend her life with. To Jessica, Shannon was a precious friend. George was surely the one most fit to entrust that friend's future to.
Well, I don't want to throw cold water on you guys, but Uncle Hideyoshi aside, what are you gonna do about Aunt Ava? Won't it be pretty tough to win her over?
We're just gonna kill him!
Jesus.
Hideyoshi, what the fuck?
Fuck.
There's no reason for anyone to worry about something like that. No one but me gets any say in who I choose to be my partner. I will bring Shannon happiness. Whose permission do I need for that?
God.
Yeah, mammies.
Isn't there someone you forgot to ask?
Whoa! George Nissan, that was cool! Can't believe you can say stuff like that embarrassing out loud. I don't remember you ever being that kind of character in the past. Jesus. As they say, if you don't see a boy for 3 days, you should watch him closely.
Whoa,
The fuck does that mean?
whoa.
I mean, he killed himself?
No, it means that what?
He's gonna be beating his meat to some fat yeets.
It means that boys grow fast. What? That's like a phrase.
I've never heard that.
If you don't, something like, oh, if you don't see a boy for 3 days.
Like he'll be like a different person.
Yeah, cause
Oh.
yeah. Cause people,
Oh, I thought it was like he's doing something sus.
it is worded like kind of weird here, to be fair.
Yeah.
I grow as much as anyone. I intend to study more and more and grow to be the man Shannon deserves. The one who can bring her happiness.
Maybe even George realized how embarrassing the words coming out of his mouth were. God, I hope so.
I hope so too, what the fuck?
His face turned very slightly red, and he scratched his head.
Shannon
By
wants to
Dr.
kill him.
Seuss.
Christ.
George-san?
It's okay. I'm sure Mother will be difficult, but you can leave that to me. You'll see. I'll make all the relatives accept you as my partner.
Whether they like it or not.
Awesome! I'm jealous of you, Shannon, seriously.
Jessica wants to fuck a cousin. I'm sorry for saying that.
I'm very grateful that you're willing to go so far.
Come to think of it, I'm starting to feel like a third wheel here. Maybe I'd better leave, huh?
As Jessica rose with a forced smile from the bed she'd been sitting on, the phone rang. Before Jessica picked up the receiver, wondering what this could be about, Shannon looked at the clock and jumped. Apparently, she'd spent too much time on her break.
I'm sorry. I forgot it was time for work. Then if you'll excuse me.
The same time Jessica picked up the phone, Shannon began dashing out of the room.
Ah, Shannon! Again, the usual time at the usual place.
Yes. Excuse me.
Hello, it's Jessica. Ah, Genji-san! Yeah, Shannon's going back to you guys now. We held her up, so please don't scold her. Yeah. I see. So it's almost time for them to get ready for dinner.
Many plates were lined up on the counter in the kitchen. Preparations for dinner were proceeding steadily. The number of plates lined up there was 19. That was one more than should have been set up for the annual family conference.
Oh,
That
fuck!
square ass man.
I can't tell these two apart. Alright. I can't accept it. Why can't I deliver it directly?
Doda-san flared up at Genji, paying no heed to the pot that was spitting steam. The master enjoyed eating alone in his study, so his food needed to be served in that room. However, that was something that always happened. Of course, Goda-san would want to set the table for the master with his own hands, since he put his heart and soul into his cooking. But the master had imposed a strict rule but that no one but the servants bearing the Golden Eagle crest enter his study. So while Goda-san would be able to greet the master from outside the study, not once had he been granted the honor of carrying his cooking inside. Goda-san was always irritated by this. Of course, he was a newcomer in terms of years of service. However, he had piled up plenty of experience from his previous jobs, and he was quite confident that he'd be able to perform in front of Kinzo in a manner that would do him no disservice. And yet, simply because he was not permitted to wear the Golden Eagle, he still hadn't been blessed with this honor. Can you imagine what damage that would do to his pride? You might think tonight was a repeat of that, but it wasn't. Because tonight there was a person other than the master who wanted their food carried to their room. Apparently, this person is an extremely rare and honored guest, and we've been given strict orders to treat them in the same manner as the master, the family head. Goda-san must have wanted to earn some points by serving this honored guest with his own hands. After all, he was an extremely vain person. If he wasn't qualified to serve the master, then at least a guest of the same rank. He simply couldn't find the time during lunch, so Kanon-san had gone in his place. So he truly desired to personally serve this person tonight's meal, the best dinner of the year. But Genji-san had put a stop to that. Something about how Goda-san didn't wear the Golden Eagle. After being told once more that he wasn't qualified, Goda-san lost his patience. Ah, so heartrending, Goda-san. I cannot do anything more than watch like this from the shadows.
Kumasawa-san, if you have enough free time to dawdle around, please get the dining hall ready.
But I'm monologuing.
God, Scott, that was the best thing you said all fucking night.
Alright. Is the tablecloth set?
Oh, my apologies. I love Kumasawa so much.
I don't think I can handle this fucking episode. It's already too goofy. It's already too goofy.
When it became her turn to bear his wrath, Kumasawa slid out into the hall, as we just saw.
Alright. Bijou-sama is of exactly the same rank as the master. All rules regarding her are to be respected just as much as those involving the master. Goda-san, please devote your attention entirely towards your own task and serve all the relatives. I wouldn't mind if it was you, Genji-san, but is it really okay to let a child like this serve such a guest? If she made some blunder, it would be quite embarrassing. I know they've served here a long time, but that doesn't mean they've been trained in the proper areas.
Are you doubting Genji's training?
If you'll allow me to speak freely, they are completely lacking the fundamentals that might qualify them to interact with such a guest.
Damn, Shannon's right here.
Actually.
Goda spoke bluntly, even though Shannon was standing right there in the kitchen.
What a chat.
Shannon was the one whom Genji had ordered to carry dinner to Beatrice's room. By the ranking system among the servants permitted to wear the Golden Eagle, Shannon certainly was the second highest in rank. If the highest ranked Genji went to set the table in Kinzo's room, then it fell to Shannon to set the table in Beatrice's room. Goda's pride was always horribly injured by this ranking system. At times like this, he'd speak out bluntly and rudely against Shannon and Kanon. Goda kept raising examples of each of Shannon's failures until now, making a ruckus about how she couldn't do this or was terrible at that. Shannon, who listened to this with her head hung in shame, heard Kanon's voice from behind her. Kanon had been leaning against the wall in the hallway near the kitchen entrance, a blind spot from the inside, and had been listening to all of this. You probably knew that if he entered the kitchen, sparks would start to fly his way. I've got to say it. The man's scum.
But we can learn a lot about the fundamentals of entertaining guests from him. Goda-san has learned so much, so he'd be a great reference.
Nay-san, you sure are nice.
More importantly, is the guests in the VIP room really Beatrice-sama, as they say?
Yes. I met her when I was sent to serve her lunch. There can be no doubt it's her.
Really? Was she doing well?
Cannon remembered that he and Shannon had different impressions of Beatrice. To Shannon, Beatrice was a cupid of love who had granted her magic to establish her relationship with George. Judging by the expression that rose to her face, it looked like she couldn't wait to inform Beatrice of how her relationship with George had progressed. However, Cannon already knew. That witch came here with a terrifying goal in mind. That nebulous witch that only they'd been able to see in the past had now revived so fully that she could walk in openly through the front door, and even have dinner carried to her. Once, when she'd vanished from in front of Cannon, the witch said something about how her own power was still weak. So if that witch was now appearing so openly, did it mean she'd finally regained her former power? And she said something else, too. She definitely said that she'd sown the seeds of love, while fully aware that they would fail. And she said even more. She definitely said that the day had finally come upon which the door to the Golden Land would be opened. Shannon. She's planning to hold some bizarre ceremony with the Master, and you can bet it'll be something too horrible to imagine, and no one will be able to resist.
What are you talking about?
Sorry.
Dead man walking.
She came here. She came here as the Master requested, so that the door to the Golden Land would open, and so that everything would be returned to the Golden Land. She definitely said that to me. In the past, the two of them as furniture working for King Zell had been told what opening the door to the Golden Land implied. So Shannon understood everything without having to ask a single question. And because of that, she felt a deep despair. Something tore at Cannon's heart as he looked at that expression twisted with grief.
How could... Why? Why now?
Didn't I tell you? We are furniture. Because you acted like a human, because of love, you're incapable of obediently accepting the day our service comes to an end.
Once I wished this day would come, but it never came year after year. I didn't know how long we'd be forced to endure suffering as furniture. So I thought that day of rest wouldn't come for all eternity.
I thought the same thing, but I believed that it would definitely come someday. So I never forgot that I'm furniture. But Nason, you did forget.
It's my fault, isn't it? It was I who...
Yeah, it's your fault, Nason. If only you hadn't experienced love, we'd both be happy that this day has finally come. You built up too many pointless regrets, even though you knew you'd have to leave this world someday.
Will the ceremony begin tonight?
Yes, and she said one more thing. Tonight, George Sama will probably give you an engagement ring, Nason. That was a fact. George supposedly had an engagement ring hidden in his pocket today, and surely he would hand it over tonight. She brought you two together, planning to use you as the sacrifices of the Second Twilight. Get it? She tempted you and took advantage of you.
I see. I never thought of that.
But she told me. She promised that if you don't accept the engagement ring tonight, you won't be chosen as a sacrifice, Nason. I think our chances of being able to go to the Golden Land together are very slim. There will be 13 sacrifices. Only 5 will be left alive. The chances of us being part of that group are tiny. But if you just accept her offer, those chances will rise. I want to take that bet. Our salvation is in the Golden Land. We're going to reach that place and gain humanity. And then, I want to live life as a human, together with you, Nason. If we do that, we might be able to find true love. In the past, we used to dream about being able to go to the Golden Land. If we go there, any wish will be granted. We'll be saved from this pain. That's what we believed. However, in this ceremony, only a few people would be invited to the Golden Land, chosen by fate and chance. Everyone else would lose their lives as a sacrifice midway through the ceremony. However, in the past, Shannon and Cannon have thought that whether they reached the Golden Land or were sacrificed, they would still be released from their duties as furniture. That meant this ceremony would definitely bring release to furniture like them, no matter what happened. I don't like it. Together with you, I want to make up for all the suffering we've endured. I won't become a sacrifice. Nason and I will remain alive, and we'll reach the Golden Land together. So I won't let you become the sacrifice of the second twilight. Please, Nason, don't accept that man's ring. If you don't accept it, she promised not to select you as a sacrifice.
I cannot do that. Tonight's ring is very special. My heart won't let me refuse it.
Nason, the sacrifices of the ceremony are decided on the witch's whims. And that witch has promised to overlook just you, Nason. You alone will definitely be able to go to the Golden Land.
Only me? What about you, Kennen-kun?
The witch's game is enough for me. I'll slip through her clutches. I am not powerless. I'll tightly grasp that faint chance. I'll be the zero on her roulette. After all, our lives are transient, aren't they? In order to begin our real lives, let's drag ourselves to the Golden Land. Then we will gain humanity. And when we've done that, maybe I'll be able to experience romance just like you, Nason. Maybe I won't have to make someone cry just because I'm furniture.
Kennen-kun.
I've had enough of being furniture. I'll definitely become human. Detroit. I couldn't let that slip by.
Fair enough.
Oh no.
I'll escape this pain, no matter what! And there were tears in Cannon's eyes. By now, Cannon had noticed. Shannon hadn't been the only one to know and suffer from the taste of love. He had too. The tears Jessica had shown him that day, and Jessica's pitiful face as she tried to smooth things over and stay bright ever since then, had slowly wrought some kind of change on Cannon's heart without him knowing it.
Shannon! I have been calling for you for some time now.
Shannon jumped at the sudden sound of Genji's voice. Apparently, he had called for her repeatedly. She hurriedly answered. Once he turned back, Cannon had disappeared. It seemed he didn't feel like showing his tears to anybody.
Yes? I'm sorry for being careless.
I entrusted Cannon with lunch, but it should have been you, as the next in rank after me, who carried it. Beatrice-sama is the most honored guest of this house.
Oh, sorry.
There is no more honored guest than her. Please think of her as another master and be polite. Please, take extra care that you make no blunders. Understand? It is quite painful for me to entrust this to someone as inexperienced as yourself, but there's nothing we can do about the house's rules. Carry out your duties with the utmost of care.
Goda had officially agreed, but he glared at Shannon with an expression that told her he definitely wouldn't forgive any mistakes. Even Shannon felt that Goda might as well go himself if he was so desperate to go. But she considered this one of her responsibilities as the one who had been allowed to wear the Golden Eagle and had to give up. And anyway, I wanted
to meet Beatrice. What will I talk about? What will I ask? I don't know. Will this be a meeting of gratitude? Or one of grief? Or else... what? I don't know.
Shannon piled the witch's food onto the serving cart and left the kitchen at a slow pace. The person knocking was Kraus. Father, today is our annual family conference. Haven't the siblings gathered here just to get a glimpse of you? Be silent! I say I won't leave! You're there too, aren't you, Genji? Why haven't you had my food brought here as I ordered you to? Kinzo screamed across the door. Genji was waiting behind Kraus.
Your meal has been prepared so that it might be carried to the study. However, Kraus-sama has expressed his wish that you eat downstairs tonight.
Father, I'm not asking you to do this every day. Just for this one night, won't you gather together with your family? Who are you calling family? Since when have you considered vultures circling in wait for roadkill to be family? Would you call rotting, oozing maggots family as well? My. Kraus shrugged at this answer, which he had half expected. Genji. Oh. Genji! Carry the meal here as you were told. Why don't you listen to what I say? Why? Why? Genji-san, I leave this in your capable hands. My voice will no longer reach that man. Kraus gave his head a small shake and quickly turned his back on the door to the study. He had only come calling to save face in front of his siblings, knowing full well how useless this was. After Genji watched Kraus disappear down the stairs, he called again across the door.
Master, we have finished preparations for your meal to be carried here. Shall we bring some for Dr. Nanjo as well?
Nanjo could be seen in the study.
My time.
Because Kinzo had forcefully pestered him into finishing their long-lasting chess game. They had been playing against each other since the early evening. Nanjo had announced as a doctor that Kinzo's days were numbered. So he couldn't refuse if Kinzo demanded that they finish this game while he still lived. Kinzo was thinking deeply about his next move, concentrating more than usual. It had been Kinzo's turn for quite some time, and Nanjo, who was tired of waiting, had randomly pulled out a book on magic that he couldn't understand and was skimming it.
Kinzo-san, you won't think of a good move just by folding your arms and sitting in front of the board. Perhaps we had better take a break and refresh our minds.
Be silent! That should be enough to solidify my defense. Will the bishop and the knight be able to penetrate that opening? Today, Kinzo was focused on maintaining a strong defense. Normally, Kinzo's motto was that offense was the best defense. However, today was completely the opposite. I am also
hungry. Shall we suspend the game here? Besides, I've used my head so much without a break that I'm already feeling dizzy. At this rate, I might not be able to perform at my best.
Now that won't do. In chess, both players must always make their best moves. Any other sort of move is merely a nuisance to consider, ruining a game whose focus is predicting your opponent's thoughts. Such a thing considerably reduces our enjoyment. Kinzo sighed deeply and finally shifted his gaze away from the board. Chess isn't chess without an opponent. If that opponent is tired and wants to suspend the game, there's no getting around it.
True, the goal of chess is for both players to make the best possible moves and aim for victory. It's an intellectual game where reading your opponent is key. But Kinzo-san, have you forgotten that there's another goal besides victory?
What? What other goal could there possibly be?
To think that you of all people would forget something like that. Chess is a way to pass the time having fun with a friend.
You've got me there. I believe I once said those exact words to you long ago. Yes, you've got me there. Kinzo, who almost always wore a frown, relaxed his face for once and laughed. Nanjo felt like he'd been reunited with a close friend he hadn't seen in ages.
That's how it is.
That's how it be?
Now that I've managed to take a shot back at you, what do you say? Will you go down with me and have dinner? Why don't we discuss Kasparov's middle game along with some coffee?
An appealing proposition, but I'm afraid I must decline. I can no longer leave this room. After all, the ceremony has already begun.
Is that so? Well, my stomach is growling. I will go downstairs. Anytime you feel like it.
Nanjo! Thank you.
Oh, what could you be thanking me for?
We didn't finish our match. However, it seems I have somehow achieved that second goal of chess, which I had forgotten. And it would appear that goal is no less important than achieving checkmate.
This isn't like you. Why so sentimental?
You said it yourself, did you not? My days in this world are numbered. Now go, and don't come to this room again. Let us continue this match in the Golden Land.
That's fine with me, but we'll have to start over. Losing that rook was a serious blow. Well then, I will see you later.
Yes, later. Maybe in the Golden Land or in Purgatory, or possibly in the next world. Nanjo didn't say anything beyond that, and with a motion made smooth by familiarity, he pushed the button on the table that would release the auto lock. Then, after looking at Kinjo's back one last time, he left the study.
It's a wholesome scene that I forgot about.
Me too. As he did, Genji's voice came from the hall.
If you are ready, Master, I will now carry in your dinner.
It may be my final dinner. I must savor it. Please prepare it.
As you wish. And are your preparations complete as well, Master?
Indeed. In the time leading up to this day, this room has been carefully wrapped in a multitude of barriers. Even if her roulette chooses me, I will definitely repel it. I will remain alive, and will surely become one of those who reach the Golden Land. I shall repulse the visit of the Reapers trying to drag me off to the land of the dead.
Fuck you too.
I wasn't trying to compete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, like, I have asthma.
I figured you weren't, but I thought Scott might be.
I kind of just
But
have...
just for good measure, fuck both of you.
Jesus.
Okay, we ready? Everyone got out of their systems?
You're just fucking dying here. No problem.
Excuse me?
Nice.
We should get a little closer.
I have come to serve your meal.
Shannon entered the VIP room, bowing her head and pushing the servant cart. The young woman by the window, gazing out into the supposedly empty darkness, was definitely that witch.
So, is it Shannon this time? How long's it been? Your face isn't nearly as pale as it once was. I can see you're not canon. I hardly recognize you.
Thank you very much.
Shannon solemnly prepared dinner. I love this song. There were actually several things she wanted to ask the witch, but they were all jumbled up and she didn't know where to start. Her heart was also jumbled up and she didn't even understand her own emotions. So she could only do her job dispassionately with everything still vague. However, the witch saw what was in her heart. You can't hide anything from a witch.
I won't apologize. I am a witch after all.
Apologize for what?
Come on now. Canon must have told you about it. I only rescued your love life because of your mischievous spirit. My mischievous spirit. It was nothing more than a seed I sowed so I could watch your love grow complicated, become twisted, and fail.
I imagine some people think it's more fun to hear about love than to have it.
You couldn't possibly be trying to thank me, right?
I am. No matter what kind of ulterior motive you had when you gave me the magic of love, it doesn't change the fact that I received it from you. So even if you saved that seed, even if you sowed that seed knowing that the two of us wouldn't be able to stay together for life, I won't hold a grudge against you.
Oh, Shannon's squaring up.
It seems furniture is dull after all. This is where I show my skill by cooking it into something interesting.
I don't understand what you're thinking, Beatrice-sama. You are a great witch, and people like us don't even reach your feet, nor can we even imagine your grand thoughts. But there is at least one thing I can say.
What is it?
Fuck you.
I feel like that.
Thank you for teaching me to be human. You said it yourself. I am no longer furniture.
Nobody likes an optimist, sweetie. Be silent, furniture. If you were a true human, hearing the announcement of your death on the day that you were to receive an engagement ring should have you dancing around mad with grief. But what are you doing? Your face is looking so elated, enlightened, as though you've accepted everything. Truly an anticlimax, furniture.
No,
Love that Beatrice face.
I am not furniture.
Be silent, furniture.
Damn.
I won't
No,
be
you-
silent. Because I'm not furniture.
No, you.
Are you saying you won't obey my order?
Furniture obeys orders, but a human decides for herself whether to obey orders or not.
Duh!
So I won't obey your orders.
Whip. That whole. Two.
I take back what I said. You really are interesting. If I hadn't sowed those seeds, you probably would have allowed the ceremony to control your fate without clinging to any emotions. But now you've grown to become something truly interesting, something that will entertain me to no end. That is, well, for I am not fond of boredom.
Dinner is ready. Here you go.
Doesn't this look delicious? If Goda makes it to the Golden Land, perhaps I shall commission him as my chef.
I heard from Canning-kun something about how if I rejected George-san's proposal, you promised not to make me a sacrifice.
Indeed, I said that much. You would make an ideal potential sacrifice for the second Twilight. But because Cannon cried and screamed, asking that I spare you, I graciously listened to his words. With the condition that you abandon your engagement, of course. See how gracious I am?
What a foolish offer. And what a foolish threat. So you used that to thoroughly bully Canning-kun, did you?
So you comprehend.
Apparently, Shannon had seen through it. She had apparently guessed at how the witch had bullied and humiliated Cannon with that horrible promise as bait.
I made him crawl on the carpet and kiss my shoes. And that's not all. Do you want to hear the other ways in which I humiliated him?
Shannon silently shook her head.
I've finally come to understand you. You like to bully, confuse, and trouble people, and you do it to entertain yourself. So now I know for sure the one single way to resist you.
And what might that be?
I don't care about you. I'll carry out the fate that has been given to me, that's all. I won't entertain you.
I don't care about you?
The witch's features twisted in hatred for just an instant. It disappeared immediately, but the expression that briefly rose to her face was rare for the witch, whose malicious smile usually never faded for a second.
might resist me in that way. How amusing! How truly entertaining! I'll kill you! You and your lover both.
If that's the fate you've decided upon, do as you will. I won't be afraid, and I won't stand against you.
Shannon's
After all, I don't believe that cruel fate that's coming is controlled by your will. We humans know nothing about fates that might come to pass in the future. That's why I'll live to the fullest until the last instant, following my convictions and the fate set before me. Fate is just a roll of the dice. There's no malice in it. Even if you claim there is, I won't believe it.
So, even though you've quit being furniture, you have no fear of death? It seems you believe this will bore me, but you couldn't be more wrong. The thought of seeing whether you can hold onto that view until the last moment merely serves to intrigue me more and more.
I can't stand this. Why did you take the form of a human, appear in front of us, speak with human words, and ridicule us? If you hadn't appeared in front of us, if you hadn't predicted the future, we would have been able to live life to the fullest until the last moment.
That's what witches do. I live off your fates. Reigning as a high order being does over low order beings. Your fates are nothing more than fragments. If I cut my hands together, I could scoop out as many of those as I want. Just like how no matter what the beef cows I raise might babble, it doesn't change the fact that I'll be having them for dinner. We are
That's Shannon.
We are powerless, so we cannot fight against your ceremony or fate. But I can make you unhappy right now.
And how were you planning to accomplish this?
By walking away from this place right now. No matter how I respond to your words, it will only amuse you. Refusing to respond to your questions is my only method of resisting you.
I see. You might be able to take a shot at me. But you cannot defeat me, yes? I have the power to kill anyone for eternity. I cannot wait to see whether you can keep up that resistance in an endless repeating cycle of death and rebirth. Don't you forget it, okay? You spoke those words yourself.
Well then, if you'll excuse me. If you need anything, please call me.
Shannon gave a reserved bow and faced away. With that gesture, maybe she really did take a shot back at the witch, just as Beatrice had said. Because when the witch called out again, she sounded a little more quick-tempered than she had before.
Cannon thanked me. Can't you? Can't you thank me for bringing you your day of rest?
Furniture may be happy when their day of rest comes, but I am a human, so I have nothing to thank you for. Is that all you have to say?
You plan to accept George's ring, yes? Don't forget that if you do, I will abandon the promise I made with Cannon. The promise that you would not be selected as a sacrifice.
If you need anything else, I'll have someone else come. If you will excuse me.
A flat-out interruption. Shannon still hadn't answered her, and the sound of the door closing came instead of an answer. Shannon's resistance probably struck far more deeply into the witch than Shannon herself thought, because an expression of hatred once again rose to Beatrice's face. She had made Cannon submit, even though he hadn't been ensnared till the end. Whereas Shannon, who had been so easily ensnared before, refused to submit this time.
I see. So, this state of affairs is amusing after all. Perhaps I really am still young. This is why I haven't tired of life after 1,000 years.
This was the most fabulous part of the family conference. Dinner.
What, you gotta say it like the fucking CDI, like, king from Legend of Zelda.
That's just what I was feeling from
Okay.
my boy. In the past, when King Zo had been serious about the conference, he'd taken everyone's yearly gathering for dinner very seriously. Any embarrassments during dinner would shame him greatly as the host. What the fuck? So he had given Natsuhi stern orders as to avoid such mishaps at all costs. Because of that, she and Kraus had eventually hired Goda, who had confidence in his cooking abilities. Thanks to that, they became able to serve wonderful dinners they could be confident in. But by that time, Kinzo had closed himself up in his study and never appeared for dinner. Maybe you could call that ironic. When the main dish for tonight, calf steak, was set out, Goda began to describe it proudly, further stimulating everyone's appetites.
The sauce here is Bordelais. Of course, the red wine base I used was excellent even among those made in Bordeaux, but in addition, I prepared an original blend of this house. A blend of choice alcohol from around the world to further deepen the taste. This sauce is limited to this year. I sincerely hope you all enjoy your meal.
Isn't that wonderful? However, isn't Bordelais sauce common to French cooking? It almost seems like using alcohol from outside France with that is hearsay. Nah.
Kraus-sama, today is the annual family conference. Act like it.
Chill.
What the fuck?
As a dinner for those who normally live far away and who have traveled from far across the world to gather together, I realized it would be most fitting to have a sauce made from a blend of fine alcohols from all over the planet that have never met each other before. So I had it specially prepared.
Wonderful! A truly wonderful cook. That's what you are. Food and medicine work twice as well if you sell it right. It's already twice as delicious as normal food, and the advertiser makes it twice as good as that. The taste keeps doubling and doubling.
Come on, Nissan. That question of yours was obviously a plant.
No doubt about it. You totally set Goda-san up to steal the show on that one. You think so? I thought there might be some people here who didn't notice that today's food was in the French style. After all, Ava just said that avoiding butter was a virtue, but that's the Spanish style. Well, I guess they do share a border, right?
That's not what I meant. Will you please not take a part of the conversation out of context and make stuff up? It's very delicious sauce. Goda-san, you certainly are amazing.
It is a great honor to receive your praise, and this is all thanks to Madam's habitual guidance.
No, it was all Goda's idea. I only listened to the recipe and approved of it.
It looked like the siblings quickly got into a loud argument about the sauce.
Fuck these people.
Where's the lamb sauce?
But for the
Fuck
most
you, I
part,
wanted a cheese-based sauce.
dinner proceeded peacefully. However, a certain question they desperately wanted to ask burned inside each one of them.
What was the lamb sauce?
It was about that visitor, the 19th person, the Golden Witch. In actuality, Ava and Rudolph and the rest were very much on their guards during this meal. If the mystery guest was ever going to be introduced, this dinner table would be the most appropriate place to do it. However, no place was set at the dinner table for the witch. The family conference would begin in earnest after the meal. and previous experiences told them that it might last until deep into the night. However, they couldn't imagine why such a person should be kept hidden until that late, if they were going to be intruders in the end anyway. Yeah. So Ava and Rudolph and the rest were starting to feel a certain suspicion. Perhaps this guest was unknown even to Kraus. If this wasn't an assassin called by Kraus to give him an advantage in the inheritance problem, then maybe they should speak frankly to Kraus beforehand, creating a common front to resist anything disadvantageous to the four siblings. If she was Kinzo's assassin, whose purpose was to keep the inheritance from being handed over to the four siblings, the enmity between Kraus and the other siblings could only become a weak point that benefited the enemy.
Well then, please enjoy at your leisure.
When he finished explaining the reasoning behind the table setting and cooking, Goda tried to leave the room, but Kyrie called him to a stop with a small voice.
Yes, Kyrie-sama. What is it?
Please excuse me. I was under the impression we had company today, but can we expect to be joined at the dinner table?
She had planned on saying it nonchalantly, but unfortunately it reached the ears of Natsuhi, who was sitting in the next seat over. It seemed that Natsuhi had heard it as, even though the guests are here, why hasn't the host come to dinner? In other words, that Kyrie had asked whether Kinzo was going to join them for dinner.
The family head is not at his best, so he said he would take his dinner in his study. I believe my husband explained that in the beginning.
I'm sorry. That's not what I meant.
Natsuhi's reaction instantly told Kyrie that this unknown visitor was also unknown to Kraus and his wife. Which meant, on the chessboard inside Kyrie's mind, she could hear the clattering of the pieces as they rearranged themselves. Fuck that.
What do you mean we have company?
Battler, who had been sitting next to Natsuhi, seemed to have heard Kyrie's words without misunderstanding them. What?
Battler's such a fucking... What do you mean we have company? Oh, there's another fucking table place.
There isn't, though.
They're all like, oh, there's Nancy. But they said, like, there was another, like, sit, like...
They specifically said there wasn't.
Oh, fuck. Never mind. That's not what I thought.
Thinking it strange that someone else would be invited to today's family conference, he spoke up incredulously. And thanks to that, the uncomfortable feeling building in the siblings' chest suddenly exploded. Everyone looked at Goda at the same time. Judging by their reactions, it was clear that no one here had invited that mystery woman. For an instant, Goda was startled to find everyone's gaze gathered on him, but because of his naturally vain personality, this actually gave him a feeling of superiority. Fuck that.
Oh god, he looks like he's like, his face looks like a cringe culture reaction image.
Therefore, he answered in an extremely calm and graceful manner.
That is correct. Our guest wanted to eat alone in the VIP room and is being served there.
That extremely graceful and reasonable response of Goda's made it obvious to everyone that a 19th person, a visitor, existed.
The VIP room? A guest? What? Who are you talking about?
Natsuhi's words echoed the question that everyone who didn't know about the appearance of the Golden Witch was thinking. For a while, Goda was disoriented, caught completely off guard by the sudden interrogation. This was a guest who had been treated with such deep respect. He hadn't imagined that Kraus and his wife might not even know about her.
The guest is, Beatrice-sama.
Can I get,
Can I get,
Beatrice!
Can I get a witch?
See? Beatrice came. Ooh.
Maria had been telling the other cousins over and over again that she had met Beatrice that day. The cousins had answered flippantly, but they hadn't believed. So their eyes grew wide.
Sorry. I totally thought you were joking, Maria. So she really was there.
By Beatrice, you mean that Beatrice with the gold?
Ooh! I've been saying she exists the whole time. No one believes.
Sorry, Maria-chan. That's not how we meant it.
After learning that everyone had doubted Beatrice's existence, Maria, who had been in a good mood all day, completely lost her temper. George, who sat in the next seat over, tried frantically to calm Maria.
That is kind of Maria.
Goda, is this some sort of dinner entertainment? Quite a performance. Aniki, quit playing dumb. You called her here, right? Called? Called whom? From where?
Nissan, let's be clear about this. Who is she? Surely you aren't going to tell us It really is the Beatrice from the portrait, right?
I don't have a clue what you people are talking about. Goda, you really aren't joking, right?
I was just ordered by Genji-san.
Call Genji.
Go, Morgan!
Immediately.
When Natsuhi yelled, Goda sped out into the hallway. That's really funny to imagine.
He's this big man just lumbering out.
Yeah. The sound of the door being thrown open was the spark that suddenly sent the dinner table ablaze. So, you're saying that you're in the dark too, Aniki? Who called her? Was it Dad? I don't know anything about this. It seems you people think I've been pulling the strings behind the scenes, but that's a huge misunderstanding.
Calm down, Krasny-san. We've gone past the stage of skirmishing with each other. If you're saying even you don't know who this mystery person, if you don't know this mystery person, then something crazy's going on.
Hideyoshi-san, can't you be a little more discreet with your words?
No.
My husband would not invite unnecessary people to the family conference.
Obviously. What are you people talking about? Are you saying the witch of the portrait has broken out of her frame and appeared? It's not as though anyone's actually met this witch face to face.
I met her.
Ava and Rudolph nodded at Rosa's proclamation.
Ooh, I met her too. Uncle Kraus, believe it. Believe Mama.
I know what you were thinking, Scott. Don't look at me.
Ooh.
The brief tension was broken, and Maria also started to make a ruckus. By now, the room was thoroughly wrapped in chaos.
I don't have a clue what's going on. Not really new, but... So what does it mean? Does it mean the witch who gave Grandfather the gold is showing up as a special guest this year?
But is that really true? Aunt Rosa didn't see it wrong, did she? I met her too!
You hear that tiny boy?
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah.
And she boinked in.
Boing.
Aunt Rosa, are you sure? Yes. Maria and I met her, and we even talked to her. I met her. There was definitely a witch. Believe me.
I really thought you were going to say believe it again.
I definitely didn't see it wrong or hallucinate or anything. What on earth was that?
In the instant before the typhoon arrived, Rosa definitely met a witch in the rose garden. But the scene had been so hard to accept as truth that the more she spoke of it like this, the less she understood what it was she had encountered. Ironically, since she was losing her composure, the more frantically she tried to cling to her claim, the more confused and hazy the things she was describing became. Because of that, it only took a single calmly spoken sentence to confirm the nature of what she was describing beyond doubt.
I also met with her. I greeted, well, I couldn't really call it that. I exchanged a few words with her. It's definitely not something that Rosa-san just saw wrong.
Kyrie-san, are you serious?
Yes, but she didn't tell me her name. So I can't say for certain that she was Beatrice. However, and sorry if this is subjective, but since I met her in the entrance hall, I was able to compare her face with the portrait. My first impression was that this portrait has to be hers. This is all just subjective.
That isn't possible. In the first place, where did that woman come from? The only boat arriving today was the one that had brought all of you here. Was she on that boat?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. Of course, I don't remember any woman like that getting off the boat with us.
Oh, is that all? Can you prove there wasn't a boat besides the one we rode on? You can't. You can't prove one didn't arrive.
Makes sense. If another boat did arrive, it might be possible to prove it. If someone saw it and said they saw it, then you're done.
Yeah, devil's proof.
Yeah, fucking, we can skip this actually. But it's impossible to prove that such a boat didn't arrive. Even if everyone says that no such boat arrived, that they didn't see it arrive, you can't prove that it didn't arrive secretly. It's a thing that they call, I don't know if we've gone over this before, a devil's proof.
Oh!
Hog.
New concept. Brand new.
It'd be simple to prove that devils exist. All you have to do is meet a devil.
Easy.
But it's impossible to prove that devils don't exist. Just by saying that no one has ever met a devil, you can't deny the possibility that they're hiding away somewhere humans can't go. You can't deny the existence of aliens for exactly the same reason. Until humanity searches the whole of space and can show perfectly that aliens don't exist, you can't be sure that they don't exist. And it's definitely impossible for us to ever check in the entirety of space for the existence of aliens. Therefore, while there may be a number of ways to prove that aliens do exist, it will always be impossible to show proof that denies their existence.
Go on, George.
So any discussion about there being a second boat
That was good.
would just be a waste of our time. She wasn't on the boat with us. That much is fact. So she must have arrived on the island through some other means.
That's right. There may be no need to discuss how she came here. What's important is that she's actually in this mansion now and doesn't feel like having dinner with us.
Okay, let's review. Right now, there's another guest on this island, other than the 18 people with the Ushironia family. And this is a guest even Aniki and Natsuhi-san don't know about, right?
I know nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Be silent for now. Your headache will get worse. It is as my wife says, we don't know fucking anything. And have never known anything since the day we were born. I have no idea what you people have been talking about up until now.
Then there can only be one answer. Father called her here. Called her here for today's family conference.
For the family conference? Again, why?
I don't know that! I'm questioning you because I thought you might know!
This is his fucking catchphrase, actually.
That's what I was thinking.
Ava, could you give it a rest?
Shut up, honey!
Krasny-san said he doesn't know. So here's what we've got. Father stealthily invited the Witch of the Portrait as a secret guest.
You know, just casually.
And she met with Rosa-san and Maria-chan, and then Kirie-san. That's all for now. If she has something to say to us, she could just show herself right away. Now we've got to wonder why she shut herself up without greeting us.
Yeah. Does this mean Dad, who never gave a crap about this family conference in the first place, secretly called the new mistress here? And then had her wear the clothes of his ideal witch?
Booty call.
This day is too important for that.
All this.
3 months left to live. I gotta fucking freak it.
On my deathbed, get me a stripper.
Damn.
This day is too important for that explanation to fly. Make a girl cry? Not gonna fly.
We gotta get less memey with these.
Yeah, holy crap.
This episode is actually a joke.
It's fine. I'm having a good time.
Me too.
Me too.
Great time, fuck.
There can only be one reason. To join in on the family conference. She wants to claim some right to father's inheritance.
Ridiculous! The family head wouldn't have something as filthy as a mistress.
I told you to be quiet! I've lived in this mansion with Father all this time, and I've never heard a thing about something like that. If we stretch plausibility to the limit and assume Father had an illegitimate child with some mistress decades ago, then maybe Father searched her out and called her here today. Is that what you're trying to say?
Dear, it's absurd to think Father has such a child. To waste the noble blood of the Ushiromiya family on a mistress. This is nothing more than a few people making wild claims. It's obviously a fantasy, a delusion, a daydream. Or is everyone taking part in some kind of act to trick my husband?
Technically, it would be the noble Stephen of the Ushiromi family.
Ugh.
What act? If anyone's acting, it's you.
That noble seaman has been inside Natsuki. Just thought I'd say that.
Chill out when I'm like right next to you, please.
Quit it, Anaki. Natsuhi-san may be a bit over-vehement, but she's right. Kyrie saw her. I didn't. Neither did you, Anaki. But Rosa did. But that means she exists. There are people who can prove she exists, so we're sure right away that she does. It's the opposite of a devil's proof.
It's just real.
And I want to meet her too. I want to ask her directly what kind of business she has with the Ushiromiya family, and how big her boobs are, because I'm like that, because I'm Rudolph. I agree with you on that. I also want to know how big her boobs are.
I agree with my husband.
I do indeed wish to inquire as to what business she has on Rokenjima.
Don't play dumb! There's only one thing she could be after. Father's inheritance. We should work on our future plans with a lawyer who's hot on inheritance issues. Also hot, because obviously since you guys get something, me too. If the mistress claims equal rights as mother, then our share will be cut right in half. Wait a second, everyone. Genji-san will come very soon. He knows everything.
Genji just knows everything.
Genji's just omniscient.
Genji's the narrator. I'm sure he'll answer our questions. Until then, let's stop talking about this. Hey, you kids! Sorry, but the adults have to start talking about something complicated. Return to the guest house.
Rosa yelled at the children, slightly overcome with emotion. The children didn't understand why they were suddenly being yelled at this time, but Ava and the rest realized it too late. They were talking so bluntly about the filthy topic of the inheritance right in front of their children. Of course, they wouldn't want their children to remain, so they all immediately agreed with Rosa's plan.
That's right, just as Rosa-san says, get the fuck out. George, take all the cousins and go back to the guest house. You all play nice together.
My father.
Fuck George.
George, do as you're told. Take all of the cousins and leave right now. Wait a second. Mother, we still haven't finished eating.
Fast. Fuck you, George. Ooh, and dessert hasn't even come yet.
Badass.
Ooh.
Fuck you, Maria.
Fuck.
We will have Goda-san take desserts to the guest house. So leave.
Jessica, from here on, the adults will be talking together. Go.
Sure. Even though I'm still eating.
Well, I guess I won't be the only exception.
Thanks for understanding, Bella-kun. But you sure are lucky.
Huh? Why?
I'd want to leave if I could.
I bet. I'll let you adults enjoy your happy family chat about the inheritance. I will also leave my seat. At any rate, it appears my turn will not come tonight.
Nanjo quietly rose to his feet. From his seat in the farthest corner, he had been calmly watching the whole discussion without butting in. Surely the reaction of his was very adult, just what you'd expect of a calm old gentleman. When Nanjo rose from his seat and ended up encouraging the others who were supposed to leave. The children noisily rose from their seats, and as they hurried into the hallway, the servants returned.
I apologize for taking so long. I have called Genji. I was checking to see that all of the doors and windows were shut, so it took me some time. My apologies.
Come on, children in the guest house. Goda-san, my apologies, but could you carry the children's portion of dessert to the guest house?
Huh. Is that what you wish?
It seemed Goda wasn't amused to see the dinner he'd worked so hard on interrupted like this. He sent Natsuhi a look as though asking her whether that was really okay.
Do as Rosa-san says, and it will not be necessary to set out dessert for us. Do not approach the dining hall until we call for you. Tell the rest of the servants to do the same. Understood?
Yes, as you wish.
Come, everyone. Shall we go? Maria-san, you mustn't trouble your mother anymore. Ooh. I want to talk about Banto too. No. Ooh. That was a little...
Maria-chan, could you tell us about Beatrice in the guest house? I really want to hear about the witch. Okay?
Ooh.
You're pretty darn smooth, George Nissan. I'm impressed.
Are you sure you don't have kids? You're too used to this.
Please, I couldn't get a woman to go near this.
Damn. George's words had completely restored Maria's good mood, And now she took the initiative, telling the others to head on to the guest house. It looked like Goda didn't like being kicked out himself, but he couldn't disobey Natsuhi, so he left the room with Battler and the rest, closing the door.
Is there some way I might be of service, everyone?
Yeah, there sure is. We've got a whole bunch of questions. In fact, every one of us does. So much that we almost want to have a lottery to see who gets the ask first, like a roulette or something.
But no matter who wins the first lottery, the first question will be the same, won't it? That's right. Genji-san, answer me honestly. Who is this person called Beatrice in the VIP room right now?
Oh, fuck off. Don't tell me it's gonna...
Are we gonna get to some shit, actually?
What time is it?
Summertime.
I hope that
It's
clock
our
doesn't flip over to the
vacation.
fucking AMs, or I'm gonna fucking, like, scream. Okay, we're safe.
Are we?
Yeah,
Are
we're,
we?
We're safe, we're safe.
Are
we're
we?
safe. Yeah.
It's
Cool.
9?
It's 10.
10.
Oh, 10.
10 in the
Fuck.
PMs.
Clocks be fucking me up.